Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going deep on something pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It's this document that's been making the rounds,
Right.
claiming that most of us, even people who are like really into tech,
Yeah.
are kind of missing just how fast AI is actually developing.
It's a fascinating read.
It really is.
The document is called
I think it's called Situational Awareness.
Situational Awareness.
Yeah.
And
And it suggests that only a handful of people
yeah.
really grasp
Oh, yeah.
the scale of what is coming.
What's about to happen.
Yeah.
And it's written by
Leopold Aschenbrenner.
Leopold Aschenbrenner.
I think that's how you pronounce it.
Right. And he was at OpenAI.
He was.
Which makes this even more kind of compelling.
That's right.
Right. Yeah. He's got that inside perspective.
He does.
It gives him a very unique vantage point.
Oh, sure.
He lays out like a timeline.
Yeah.
And frankly, some startling projections
Yeah.
about artificial general intelligence, or AGI. Yeah.
You know the kind of AI
Right.
that's as smart as humans?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
As smart or smarter.
Right.
Potentially.
Which is, I mean, that's what really caught my eye.
Yeah.
Because you hear about AGI in science fiction, but this document is suggesting it's not just fantasy anymore.
Exactly. Like, what's striking is Aschenbrenner's claim that AGI could be here as early as 2027.
Yeah, in a few years.
He points to
That's wild.
the exponential growth we've seen in these deep learning models.
Yeah.
You know?
So he talks about counting the ohms,
yes.
the orders of magnitude,
orders of magnitude
in compute power and algorithmic efficiency.
Right.
Can you unpack that for us a little bit?
Yeah, think of it like this.
Okay.
Every time we increase the computational power behind these models by a factor of 10, and we refine the algorithms that much more, we see a major leap in AI capabilities.
Okay, so it's not just about, like, bigger computers.
It's not just
bigger computers.
Smarter algorithms, too.
Smarter algorithms.
Yeah, and he compares the jump from GPT to GPT-4 to, like, a preschooler suddenly becoming a high schooler.
Precisely.
It's incredible.
And he argues that we're on track for another jump of that magnitude in just a few years.
Really?
But what makes this even wilder is that he doesn't believe progress will stop at human-level intelligence.
He calls this the intelligence explosion, right?
Yes.
Where AI starts designing even better AI.
Right.
Creating this kind of runaway effect.
Yeah, a kind of runaway effect.
Yeah.
And he estimates that hundreds of millions of AGIs working on AI research could compress a decade's worth of progress into a single year.
Wow.
Leading to AI.
That's mind-blowing.
That is far beyond human capability.
Far beyond. Okay, so we've got this potential intelligence explosion on the horizon.
But what are the roadblocks?
Yeah.
Like, are there things that could prevent this?
Aschenbrenner outlines several challenges, starting with the sheer computing power needed.
Right, because these models are already
huge.
Massive.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're only going to get bigger.
Yeah.
He calls this racing to the trillion-dollar cluster.
The trillion-dollar cluster.
Yeah.
Okay.
So future AI will demand huge investments in hardware, data centers, and power grids.
Power grids too, right.
Think on the scale of small countries devoting their resources to building these supercomputers.
It's like a Manhattan Project.
Yeah.
Almost.
It is.
Yeah, for AI.
And he even breaks down like the projected energy consumption.
He does.
Of these clusters, right?
Yes.
It's mind-boggling.
It is.
The numbers that he's talking about.
Yeah. He gets into like the potential for the U.S. to ramp up power production.
Wow.
Significantly to meet these demands.
Just to power these things.
Just to power them.
Oh.
It really makes you think about the trade-offs.
Yeah, for sure.
Involved in pushing AI forward at this pace.
Totally, yeah. And then there's the security question, too.
Yes.
Aschenbrenner seems pretty concerned about other countries.
Right.
Especially China.
Particularly China.
Getting their hands on this technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He believes that current security measures
at these AI labs?
Are nowhere near sufficient.
Really?
He uses a pretty stark analogy, comparing it to handing the key secrets for AGI to the CCP on a silver platter.
Wow.
He argues that state actors could steal AGI secrets, either through cyber attacks or by recruiting key personnel.
So like straight up stealing the people who know how to do this?
That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he's suggesting a level of security akin to like
Top secret military projects.
Top secret.
Wow. Okay, but even with all that,
yeah,
there's the challenge of making sure these powerful AIs are actually aligned with human values and goals.
That's
like, how do we even know?
Super alignment problem.
Super alignment problem.
Yeah.
How do we make sure that a super intelligent AI, something potentially far smarter than any human, is actually working towards goals that benefit humanity?
That benefit us.
All right.
Yeah. How do we even begin to think about that?
Yeah.
Especially if its decision-making becomes so complex that we can't even understand it.
Yeah, you can't. It's a black box.
Aschenbrenner argues that current techniques, like using human feedback to train AI, might not be enough.
Might not be enough.
For superintelligence.
For superintelligence. He's advocating for new methods.
Okay.
Of what he calls automated alignment.
Automated alignment.
Where we essentially use AI.
To help us design.
Using AI to control AI.
Yeah.
Why?
And verify the safety of other AIs.
That's a trip.
It is a little bit of a mind bend.
Okay.
But he emphasizes solving this during the intelligence explosion.
Before it's too late.
Before things potentially spiral out of control.
Okay, so we've got the compute hurdle.
Right.
We've got the security risks. And this fundamental alignment problem.
Yes.
But it gets even more intense.
It does.
When Aschenbrenner brings in the geopolitical angle.
Yeah. Oh, hey.
He argues that AGI will provide like a decisive advantage.
Yeah.
On the world stage.
On the world stage.
It's not just a technological development.
It's not just a technological development.
It's a geopolitical game changer.
It is.
Yeah.
He draws a parallel to the development of nuclear weapons, saying whoever controls AGI will hold immense power.
Wow.
Impacting everything from the economy to military dominance.
Military dominance. So this is like the big deal.
A big deal.
He specifically calls out China. Who's as a competitor in this race.
As a competitor. And says that the U.S. and its allies need to stay ahead.
To make sure that...
To ensure that AGI is developed.
Yeah.
With the values of the free world.
The values of the free world.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty stark warning.
It is.
Yeah.
And it raises the question...
What
does Aschenbrenner propose we do?
Yeah. What's his solution?
Yeah.
Well, his solution might surprise some people.
It might.
He actually calls for a government-led AGI project.
A government-led something on the scale of the Manhattan Project.
That's right.
Wow.
He believes this is the only way to manage the immense challenges of AGI.
Okay.
The resource demands.
Right.
The security concerns.
Yeah.
And the need to ensure its development aligns with the values of the free world.
Aligns with... Yeah. Wow. So basically he's saying... a private company race to AGI is too risky.
Too risky. And that the government needs to step in.
The government needs to step in.
That's a huge idea.
It's a huge idea.
Yeah.
It's certainly thought-provoking.
Yeah. He predicts this will likely happen.
Yeah.
By 2027 or 2028.
By 2027 or 2028.
As the stakes become clearer.
As the stakes become clearer.
So we've got this document, Situational Awareness.
Right.
Arguing that very few people grasp how quickly AI is advancing.
Yeah.
And potential consequences. It's intense stuff.
It is.
This document.
It definitely challenges us to confront.
It does.
The big questions.
The big questions.
Yeah.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
We've only just scratched the surface.
A lot more to unpack.
There's so much more.
In the next part of our deep dive.
Yes.
We'll get into the specifics.
Yeah, let's get into the specifics.
Of Aschenbrenner's projections. About future AI clusters. His security recommendations.
Those security recommendations are fascinating.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
And his ideas about tackling super alignment. During the intelligence explosion. So much to talk about.
Yeah, buckle up.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Yes.
Where we'll continue our exploration of situational awareness. And what it means for the future of humanity.
It's a big one.
It is. Welcome back to our deep dive into situational awareness.
Yeah.
Last time we were talking about Leopold Aschenbrenner's prediction that a government-led AGI project might be inevitable.
The government-led AGI project, yeah.
And it's a pretty bold proposition.
It is.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
To like go from Silicon Valley startups to this massive government-funded endeavor.
Yeah, moving from the private sector to the public sector in a big way.
It really makes you think about how we're going to manage this next phase of AI development.
This next phase.
Yeah, but before we get too deep into the implications of like a government-led project, I'm kind of curious about some of the technical details that Aschenbrenner lays out, because he really dives into the immense computing power needed for AGI.
He does.
These trillion-dollar clusters he talks about.
Trillion-dollar clusters.
Yeah, can you talk about that a bit?
Yes. He provides some fascinating calculations for like this theoretical system he calls the 2030 cluster.
2030 cluster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which he believes would represent a 10,000-fold increase
10,000
in compute power compared to what was used to train GPT-4.
That's wild.
Yeah, and he estimates it would require 100 gigawatts of power.
100 gigawatts.
Yeah, I tried to wrap my head around that number.
Me too.
And it's just astronomical.
It's huge.
To put it in perspective, that's more than 20%.
Wow.
Of the electricity currently produced in the entire United States.
So like one AI system consuming that much.
One AI system consuming that much energy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost unfathomable.
And he gets into the practical considerations too.
He does.
Of building these systems, right?
He does.
Like availability of GPUs, the physical space needed for data centers, the logistical hurdles.
All the logistics, yeah.
Yeah.
He even discusses the potential for the U.S. to increase natural gas production to meet these energy demands.
Just to fuel these things.
Yeah, it really highlights the massive infrastructure changes.
That's a huge change.
You might need to support the advancement of AGI.
Energy grid.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it really underscores just how significant
this is like a whole
this shift could be.
Societal shift.
It is.
Not just like a new iPhone. It's not just like
a new gadget.
A whole new way of life.
Yeah, it's a whole new paradigm.
And then on top of all that, there's the chips themselves.
Oh, yeah.
Like the actual physical chips.
Yeah.
Aschenbrenner projects that just meeting the demand for AI chips and not even counting the ones that are needed for the actual training.
The actual training.
Requires like a multiple of what companies like TSMC can currently produce. Wow.
It suggests a future where the entire global semiconductor industry might have to reorient itself around AI.
Wow.
It's a staggering thought.
It is.
But it speaks to the scale.
It does.
Of the technological revolution Aschenbrenner is describing.
It really does. Yeah. It's like AI is not just...
It's not just a software breakthrough.
A software breakthrough.
It requires
like
a complete restructuring of our technological capabilities.
A restructuring of our entire society to make this happen.
That's right.
And then on top of these logistical hurdles, we've got the security challenge.
Right.
Aschenbrenner does not hold back.
He doesn't.
On his concerns about other countries. Particularly China. Potentially stealing AGI secrets.
Yeah.
He's like really worried about this.
He's incredibly blunt about the potential risks.
Yeah.
Stating that the current security measures at AI labs
are insufficient.
Are like handing the key secrets for AGI to the CCP on a silver platter.
Wow.
He advocates for a security overhaul.
Okay.
Suggesting measures like rigorous background checks for personnel.
For the people who work there?
Strict access controls.
Oh, okay.
Physical security for data centers.
Like guards and stuff?
And constant surveillance for suspicious activity. Like you're walking into a top secret facility.
Yeah.
He argues that protecting AGI will demand a level of security comparable to or even exceeding that of top secret defense projects.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty high bar.
So he's saying that basically like
he's saying that
even the most advanced military technology that we have doesn't even have this level of security. He thinks we need
more.
Wow.
Yeah. And he even suggests that government involvement might be necessary to achieve this level of security.
That level of security.
Given the resources and authority they can bring to bear.
It's almost like he's making the case.
He is.
For why we need a government-led project.
He is.
Just based on the security concerns alone.
Yeah, just on the security concerns alone.
Yeah, it makes you wonder if the private sector even has the ability
Right.
or the incentive to actually implement these kinds of
That's a good point.
security measures.
Yeah. Does the private sector have the ability or even the incentive to implement such stringent security measures?
Yeah, it's a tough question.
It is a tough question.
And even with the most robust security, there's no guarantee that we can completely eliminate the risk of, like, theft or espionage.
Especially in the world of cyber warfare.
Especially in the cyber world.
It's a constant cat and mouse game.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's like
it highlights
we can try to make it as secure as possible.
For ongoing vigilance.
But it's almost like you're never going to be...
And a proactive approach to security.
100%.
Right.
Certain that somebody's not going to...
That somebody's not going to find a way.
Find a way in.
To get in.
Yeah, and then even beyond protecting the technology itself, we have this even bigger challenge.
The even bigger challenge.
Of ensuring that these AI systems, these incredibly powerful AI systems, are aligned with human values and goals.
Human values and goals, that's where the concept of superalignment comes in.
Superalignment.
Yeah.
And Aschenbrenner really hammers home this point.
He does.
That current alignment techniques, the ones that rely on, like, human oversight and feedback.
Right. Relying on human oversight.
Might not be sufficient.
Might not be sufficient.
For superintelligence.
For superintelligence.
He has this analogy.
He uses a striking analogy.
Where he compares it to a first grader trying to supervise a PhD graduate.
Yeah. Like,
which is pretty funny.
How is a first grader going to supervise...
But also kind of scary.
A PhD graduate.
When you think about it.
Yeah, it really drives home the potential disparity between human intelligence and the capabilities of a superintelligent AI.
Yeah, and so... he proposes that we need to explore, like, entirely new approaches to alignment.
Yeah, entirely new approaches.
Potentially even using AI itself.
Potentially even using AI itself.
To help us design.
And
verify the safety of other AI. This is where his idea of automated alignment comes in.
Automated alignment.
Right.
Imagine using a portion of that massive computing power.
Wow.
To develop algorithms that can constantly monitor and adjust AI systems to ensure they remain aligned with human values.
So it's like...
it's a little bit...
AI keeping AI in check.
Like AI keeping AI in check.
That's wild.
It is a little bit mind-bending.
Yeah.
But it highlights the need for a significant research push in this area.
Especially considering the speed at which AI is advancing.
Especially considering how fast things are moving.
Right.
Yeah.
But even with all these safeguards... Aschenbrenner acknowledges that there's no guarantee. That we'll be able to solve the alignment problem. With absolute certainty.
It's kind of a...
it's a sobering thought.
We
might be on the verge of creating something more powerful than anything humanity has ever encountered.
Right.
And we're still grappling with the fundamental question of how to ensure its safety and alignment with our values. Right.
Yeah, so we've got all these immense challenges ahead.
Yeah.
But then on top of that...
Aschenbrenner argues that AGI will inevitably reshape the global power balance.
The global power balance.
Like, it's not just a technological development.
It's not just a technological development.
It's like a geopolitical...
it's a geopolitical game changer.
Yeah. And he draws a parallel.
It's a parallel.
To the development of nuclear weapons. Saying whoever controls AGI... will have a decisive advantage... in the world. Impacting everything from economic dominance... to military capability. This is a...
big one.
Huge deal.
A huge deal.
Yeah. And he's particularly concerned...
he is...
about China... winning the race to AGI.
China winning the race.
Suggesting that it could have, like, significant consequences. For democracy and human rights around the world. This is heavy stuff.
Yeah. It raises some uncomfortable questions.
Yeah. It does.
About the potential for AGI to be used for authoritarian purposes.
Right.
Or to further exacerbate existing global inequalities.
Make the problems we already have even worse.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot to digest. We've got the technical challenges, the security risks, the alignment problem.
And
now this potential for like a global power shift.
Yeah, and a global power shift.
It all feels...
It does.
Pretty weighty.
It's definitely a lot to absorb.
Yeah.
As we move into the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore Aschenbrenner's proposition for a government-led AGI project in more detail.
Let's do it.
We'll examine the potential benefits and risks of such an approach.
Okay.
And delve deeper into what it means for the future of humanity.
To the future of humanity.
Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good.
We'll also discuss some of the broader themes that emerge from this document, like the need for greater transparency. And accountability in AI development.
Or accountability.
And the importance of a global conversation about the future of AI and its role in shaping our world.
A global conversation. That's a great point.
It is. It's a conversation we need to have together.
Stay tuned for part 3.
Yes.
Where we'll wrap up our exploration of situational awareness.
Situational awareness.
And the extraordinary future it reveals.
The extraordinary future.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Yeah.
We've been unpacking this document, Situational Awareness.
Right.
Which argues that we're on the brink of an AI revolution that few truly comprehend.
That few truly comprehend.
That's right. And in the last part, we left off on the author's rather provocative solution to all these challenges.
Right.
A government-led AGI project.
Yes, a government-led AGI project.
Something akin to the Manhattan Project.
Yeah, something on that scale.
It's a pretty radical idea.
It is a radical idea.
This notion of shifting AGI development from the fast-paced world of Silicon Valley.
Right. From the private sector.
To a government-run program.
So a government-run program.
It makes you wonder, is this really the best way forward?
It's certainly a departure from our usual approach to tech innovation.
Oh, sure.
But Aschenbrenner lays out some compelling reasons why he believes this is necessary.
Okay, let's hear it.
Well, he starts with the sheer scale of the resources needed.
Yeah.
We're talking about these trillion-dollar clusters.
Trillion-dollar clusters.
With energy demands that dwarf entire countries.
Yeah, it's hard to even fathom.
It is hard to fathom. He argues that only a government would have the financial muscle to pull off something of that magnitude.
Yeah, because we're talking about like the entire GDP some countries.
The private sector, even with its deep pockets, might simply not be able to keep up.
It's like trying to build a moon rocket in your garage.
It's a great analogy.
You might have the ingenuity.
But
you need
a whole other level of resources.
Yeah, a whole other level of resources.
To make it happen.
And then there's the security issue.
Right, and the security issue.
Aschenbrenner's convinced that private companies, even with the best intentions, simply can't match the level of security that a government can provide. He's talking about protecting against state-sponsored espionage. That's right. Which requires a whole different set of...
tools and expertise.
Yeah.
You need a whole different playbook.
It's like we need the equivalent of a digital Fort Knox.
A digital Fort Knox? I love that.
To protect these AGI secrets.
Yeah, and he's not just worried about protecting the finished AI models.
Right.
The so-called weights.
Right, the actual AI itself.
He's also concerned about the theft of the underlying algorithms.
Right.
The intellectual property that drives AI progress.
So it's not just about safeguarding, like, the finished product.
It's not just about safeguarding the finished product.
It's also the blueprint.
It's the blueprint.
Yeah.
And he believes that a government-led project would be in a better position to address this. They have the resources, the expertise.
You have the people.
And the authority to enforce strict security protocols.
Right. It's like a government can say,
they can.
You will do this.
You will do this.
And people have to do it.
And people have to comply, yeah.
But there's also the concern that a government project.
Right. There's always that concern.
Might stifle innovation.
Yeah.
We often think of the private sector as being more agile.
More nimble.
More willing to take risks.
Yeah. That's a valid point.
And it's something that Aschenbrenner acknowledges. But he argues that the potential downsides of a government-led project are outweighed by the potential benefit. It seems like he's saying that with AGI.
Yeah.
We're dealing with something so powerful.
So powerful.
So potentially transformative.
So potentially transformative.
But we need a different approach.
We need a different approach.
One that prioritizes safety and control.
Safety and control.
Above all else.
Above all else. That's a really important point.
Yeah.
It's a perspective worth considering.
For sure. But even if we accept the need for a government-led project,
even if we accept that,
there are still so many questions.
There are still so many questions.
Like, who would oversee this project?
Who would oversee it?
How would it be structured?
How would it be structured?
And how do we ensure transparency and accountability?
How do we ensure transparency and accountability?
These are huge questions.
Those are huge questions.
And it makes you realize just how unprepared we are for this potential future.
It's a wake-up call.
It is a wake-up call.
We're on the cusp of a technological revolution.
Yeah.
Unlike anything we've ever seen.
And we're still figuring out the rules of the game.
We are still figuring out the rules of the game.
And it's not just about governments and tech companies.
No, it's not.
Aschenbrenner's document really highlights the need.
It does.
For a broader societal conversation.
What's a broader conversation?
About AI and its implications.
Absolutely.
We need to be thinking about the ethical considerations.
The ethical considerations.
The economic impact.
The economic impacts.
And the potential for social disruption.
And the potential for social disruption.
It's not just a technical challenge.
It's not just a technical challenge.
It's a human challenge.
It's a human challenge.
And it's one that we need to face head on.
We need to face it head on.
This document, Situational Awareness, is a bit like peering into a crystal ball. Albeit very complex and unsettling one.
It's a little unsettling, but it's important to look.
It's a call to action.
It is.
A plea for us to start grappling with.
To start grappling.
The implications of AGI before it's too late.
Before it's too late.
Before it's too late. And it's a reminder that we have agency.
We do have agency.
In shaping this future.
Shaping this future.
The choices we made today will determine the course of AI development.
Will determine the course.
And its impact on our world.
And its impact on our world. That's such an important point.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key message for our listeners?
I think the most important takeaway is this.
Yeah.
The future of AI is not predetermined.
Okay.
It's being shaped right now.
Right now.
By the decisions we make.
The decisions we make.
The conversations we have.
The conversations we have.
And the actions we take.
And the actions we take.
We are not passive observers in this technological revolution.
We are active participants.
We are active participants. And the more informed and engaged we are, the better equipped we'll be to navigate this extraordinary future.
And ensure that AI benefits all of humanity.
And ensure that it benefits all of humanity.
Well said.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into situational awareness.
My pleasure.
It's been a thought-provoking journey.
It has been a thought-provoking journey.
And to our listeners,
yes,
we encourage you to continue exploring these ideas.
Yes, please do.
And to join the conversation.
Go in the conversation.
About the future of AI.
About the future of AI.
It's a conversation we need to have together.
We need to have it together.